We were off the air for live shows for a couple of weeks, so we missed out on a couple of shows with our official recruiting analyst, James Lott. Thank goodness, though, Max is back, so we can be joined once again by James Lott, joining us to talk recruiting in the Lone Star State. James, how are you?
How we doing today, guys?
We are getting back in the swing of things, and it is, of course, spring has sprung. We are all looking forward to spring football. And I guess, first and foremost, as a recruiting guy, as a guy who has his finger on the pulse of all the big-time prospects across the Lone Star State, how often are you heading out to spring practices and seeing these guys get in there, kind of the grunt work?
Big time for me, guys, this part of the year. Really, I've been on the phone for the last couple of weeks with a bunch of the programs around the state, just trying to find out spring ball dates and so forth. Really, I like to get out there and get in here and see these kids up close. And, the cool thing also is you sometimes bump into the, of course, the colleges are out recruiting also, so you'll run into Stanfords and Baylors and all those folks out there, which is really great also.
Last year, we're talking offensive linemen today, and last year it was a banner year for offensive linemen. Of course, Greg Little at the top of everyone's recruiting list ends up going to Ole Miss. Compared to last year, how would you kind of say that the 2017 crop of offensive linemen stack up?
Not quite as good. I would give it a B. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty good group, but not as good as last year's, of course.
Interesting. And one of the guys that I know everybody has their eye on is the early Texas Tech commit, Jack Anderson, the offensive lineman out of Frisco. 6'4", 295, as they say, you can't teach that. But when you watch Jack Anderson on film and when you watch him in person, what stands out to you?
Boy, this kid is great. I love watching this kid play. He plays the game, and he's just like a little boy out there having fun. I mean, he's like you said, he's about 6'4", 295. I see him play all the time because I live out in Frisco. Mm-hmm. But he committed to Texas Tech in October 2015, and seems to be one of those kids that's kind of sticking by his commitment. Great size, excellent feet and mobility. Kid has excellent explosion out of his stance, and he's a mauler. I mean, you cut the film on and you watch him, he just beats up people. He's a street fighter who will knock your block off. I really, really like watching this kid play. He sort of plays like he's got a chip on his shoulder.
Now,
Another great athlete. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to ask you, how much stock do you put into the scheme here? Because so Jack Anderson plays for Frisco, and the Raccoons very famously don't run the spread. They run kind of the flex bone type offense. As a Texas Tech commit, he would be going out there, and everybody knows what kind of offense Cliff Kingsbury and company run out in Lubbock. How much stock do you put into maybe a shift in philosophy as far as scheme is concerned?
Sometimes you look at that, but when you watch this kid, you just see so much of what you need to play. Just a great football player. Mm-hmm. So when you're a great football player, and as you watch him, he could fit in any scheme and be very, very effective wherever he went.
We're talking with James Lott, the official recruiting analyst of Dave Campbell's Texas Football here on DCTF Live. Get involved with the conversation, hashtag DCTF Live. Another guy in the DFW area, actually up in your neck of the woods as well, McKinney Boyd offensive lineman Tyrese Robinson, another monster. It's 6'4", 300 pounds. It seems to me he's already got the frame. This is a guy who is a big-time prospect, has been on people's radar for a while. What stands out about Robinson to you?
Like you said, the way he looks. You walk in, you spot him on the field, and you're like, who the heck is that? 6'4", 310, big athletic, almost looks like a basketball player up close. All-district performer, started since he was a sophomore. Can play both guard and tackle. Good length, long arms, has great hips, knees, and ankles. So he's a bender. He can move around. But very strong run blocker. He's another kid that in and out of his stance and will maul the guy in front of him. So he's really, really fun to watch. Funny, you guys were talking earlier on the program. Mm-hmm. Another guy that's an early commit to Oklahoma, but like you said earlier, what does that mean? I mean, I think he visited Texas a couple of days ago after he committed to Oklahoma. So you never know with these kids these days. But like I said, another great prospect that's coming out that's special to watch.
You said the word bender. I'm interested if you can kind of explain to our audience, when you're talking about a guy being a bender, what do you mean by that?
Well, if you think about it, when you play offensive, defensive line, they've got to get in and out of those stances. And sometimes bigger kids don't lack a lot of flexibility. So when you hear me say bender sometimes, that's what I'm saying. It's a kid that can easily get in and out of his stance like a smaller guy. So he's athletic, he can bend, he's got flexible ankles and knees, so he can pop in and out of his stance with no problem.
We're talking with James Lott, the official recruiting analyst of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, here on DCTF Live. Get involved with the conversation at hashtag DCTF Live. One more guy you wanted to talk about, and I'll tell you, they just keep getting bigger and bigger. I don't know what's in the water down at Cy-Fair. But Austin Deculus, the offensive lineman and defensive lineman there for Cy-Fair, 6'5", 325. Jeez. My goodness gracious. Just a monster up front. He's got the size. Does he have the technique?
Definitely. And the cool thing about this kid is he's coming up in a zone blocking scheme. Cy-Fair their coach runs zone blocking when offensively, so this kid's going to come into college already knowing how to zone block guys. So that's an attribute that he has. But he's another long kid, long arms, another great bender, excellent mirror ability, so he can pass set with ease. Tremendous athlete. Very competitive kid, will get after you when you watch the film on him. He really gets after his opponent. Strong academic kid, very, very strong. He's on the honor roll. LSU, Alabama, Michigan, Notre Dame are all after him. It'll be interesting with him because he's got his teammate, Brock Wright, who's the top tight end in the country, has committed to Notre Dame. So Notre Dame being academic, I'm just surprised they're not more in the picture right now. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him join his friend Brock right up at Notre Dame.
And he's another guy who is playing tackle, a guy that I know that's the kind of guy, all due respect to centers and guards, but tackles are the ones that everybody kind of keeps an eye on. Everybody tries to find those bookend guys, and it looks like Deculus is that kind of guy who's already got great experience out on the edge.
Perfect, long, like I said, 6'6", 320, long arms. Perfect guy with what they're looking for these days out on the edge to block these fast defensive ends coming to sack your quarterback.
He's James Lott. He's the official recruiting analyst of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Follow him on Twitter at JL Scouting. James, appreciate it. We'll do this again next week.
Appreciate it, guys. Talk to you soon.
There he goes, James Lott, the official recruiting analyst of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. So that Brock Wright, we'll talk tight end at some point down the road. He's 6'5". He's 6'5", 245.
Yeah.
These kids are just huge.
Just giant.
And I know that I know this is not breaking news.
No,
but
still.
That kids are getting bigger. But I think when you actually say it aloud and you go, oh, Jack Anderson, 6'4", 295.
Yeah.
And Tyrese Robinson is 300 pounds. And Austin Deculus is 325. Like, goodness gracious. Yeah. These guys are just huge. And, these are guys who are ready to step in, maybe not technique-wise, but at least from a frame perspective, they can step in and play right away. The days of needing those years, needing to redshirt, needing a freshman and sophomore year to fill out your frame, for these top-tier guys, they're gone.
Coaches are looking at them now and going, we're 3 steps away basically from having these guys ready to go as freshmen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jack Anderson is interesting out of Frisco. I'm really interested in the scheme thing
and
there.
how it translates.
Because Tech obviously runs this wide open spread, and if you've ever watched Frisco, it's pretty much the opposite of that.
Yeah.
They're going to bunch him up and plow forward,
Right.
and so he's an outstanding run blocker.
Right.
But I know that when they do pass, look, you've got to be able to do everything as an offensive lineman, and I think that he's a guy that has the athleticism to do a variety of different things.
I think the video showed too, relative to his size compared to the other guys, he does. He bullies people around, and I mean, you already have the run blocking thing, lots of reps there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, smack some guys around when they're trying to get to the quarterback too. It's,
I like the word he used, and he's used it a couple times as a mauler. He's just a guy who
does.
Yeah,
like I said, the other 2 guys have a little more size, but if you watch his film, he doesn't seem quite as big, and yet he's pushing people around just as much.
Yeah. So that is those are some of the top prospects of the offensive line in the class of 2017.